Hello everyone, welcome to the session on classification, its types and its dataset. I am Prasanna. In this session, we'll discuss about four different classification types such as one class classification, two class binary classification, multi-class classification and multi-label classification. Let's look at one class classification first. It is one of the methods used to determine instances of one. It is a method used to determine the instance of one particular class. And in this is achieved by doing a learning which is gained from the data set of instances from that particular class. So let's take, for example, this circle, and this circle defines the class boundary. So the dots that are present inside this circle contains instances belonging to this class C, for example. And there are also four dots outside the class which doesn't belong to this class. So the key point is the data set is trained only with the instances of one class and not the other class. So the four different dots that you see outside this circle does not form another class. It's just outside, and we are just concerned about or focused on only this one particular class, and the dots represents the instance of this class, and it is data set is trained with this. So this is how one class classification is defined. Let us now see it graphically. You can see here, as we mentioned, the circle inside contains, say, for example, here we are considering car reviews. So C1 denotes car 1 reviews and C0 denotes other car reviews. So the dots that are present inside the circle are of one class, and the dots outside, we are not concerned, of course, other car reviews. But those other car reviews does not form another class. So let us look at the data set of car reviews. So now we have seen one class classification and how these data sets are used. So we have, say, for example, totally 1,100 labeled reviews. So labeled reviews denotes that review 1, for example, is of car 1, C1. Review 2 is of, say, other car reviews, for example. So we have divided those 1,100 reviews in this following way. Say 100 reviews belongs to car type C1, 500 reviews car type C2, 500 reviews, another 500 reviews belongs to car type C3. So now the C1, car type C1, which has totally 100 reviews, is definitely lesser than 1,000 reviews of C0, the other car reviews, that is car 2 and car 3. So there is an imbalance. You can already see that one car review has less and another has more. So the weight is not balanced. So we have to use some techniques in order to have a balanced data set. So this can be achieved by using oversampling and undersampling technique. So oversampling, say for example, we have very less car 1 reviews, C1 reviews. So we'll have to add more car reviews of type C1 so that so that it is equals the C0, that is the CO, that is the other car reviews, or the other way around, undersampling, that is C2 and C3, those are the other cars. So we can bring down those remove those car reviews such that it is equal to this 100 reviews of C1. So it's nothing but reducing the removing the reviews to equal it. So those are the two techniques involved here to balance. So as we mentioned, there is more dominance of other car reviews like C2 and C3, which is which can be termed as majority classes, and C100 reviews as minority classes. So there is more dominance of one class over the other. Therefore, we have to definitely employ such techniques to balance the data set. So now let's go to the second classification technique, two-class binary classification. As I mentioned before, that other car reviews are not formed into one another class, but in two-class binary classification, the other class car reviews are formed into a one particular class, therefore it is distinct. So how is the data set trained? So the data set is trained with two types of classes, cars with class type C1 and cars with class type C0. In other words, we can say that the review is of type C1, this one, and this is of type C0. So both are distinct. So therefore, this is two-class classification, and it is different from one-class classification due to the fact that the second circle here, C0, is not formed in the one-class classification. So let's move on to the next one, which is multi-class classification. So here we will have more than one class, two types. So like C1, class type car type 1, car type 2, C2, car type 3, C3. So it classifies the instances or the objects of the classes into more than two types. For example, there are car reviews as you see in car C1, C2, C3. So the data set here is trained with all the three types of car C1, C2, and C3. So therefore, this is multi-class classification. And let's move to the last one, which is multi-label classification. Here you can see it is one type of classification where the input plays a role as well. So similar to the multi-class, we have three different class types, but here the input contains both some two combinations of classes. Say C1, C2 car reviews are inside this input label, and the output will of course combines the classes C1 and C2. So in another example to clearly understand, let's say we have a picture cat and dog, sorry, and we give this cat and dog image as input, and the output would be cat, dog, and horse divided. So the cat and dog will combine together in this case as it has both the classes in the input label. So this is multi-label classification. Yeah. So here we come to the end of the session. Thank you for listening.